Okay, cool.
What's like your best pickup line?
Best pickup line? Has anyone told you you're so beautiful? Hi, I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you.
That was awful.
Dylan, are you seeing anyone right now?
No.
Okay. I figured.
That's why my pickup line is so bad.
He said I figured.
I appreciate that.
No, I don't have a pickup line. I'm just tall.
I'm just tall.
That's just tall. That has got me pretty far.
Tall.
So.
Being tall does help. It helps a lot for
Curly
sure.
hair too. For some reason, curly hair works as well.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I don't have a pickup line, but I can pick you up.
There it is.
There you go.
I'm not single, but that'd be sick.
Cool.
So
Now you can see yourself.
Oh,
There you go.
perfect.
All right, you want to slate in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
All right. You'll talk. Yeah, you'll talk to that one.
Yeah.
All right, ready? In 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? I'm Dylan Ross.
And I'm John McTavish.
And we're Easygoing Studios, and this is Let's Slate In. Today on our Feature Friday, we have a very special guest. He is a great camera op. He's one of our good friends.
Yeah, baby.
He is one of the tallest people that we know, probably.
And the best looking curly hair man out there.
Damn right. It is Mr. Bryce Tuggle. Woo!
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
How you
for
doing?
being here, Mr. Bryce.
Of course.
We saw you, when did we see you last?
Backyard City Sesh.
Backyard
Yeah.
City Sesh.
When did we film that? It feels like it
February.
was like 2 weeks ago.
It was
but
February. It
It's
was
been a while.
shortly after my teeth removal.
That's right.
Dude, I was messing with my stitches the whole set. Like the whole time you guys I was recording, I was going. Ugh.
That's a great noise, too.
Yeah, we picked that up in some of the shots.
We're like, we can't use this at all
He
now.
keeps playing with the stitches.
So we want to start something new. We've been saying origin story in the past episodes, but we're calling it something different. And Dylan, you want to?
Yeah, so we're going to start it off by asking you, what is your industry intro? So how did you get started in the industry?
I guess it technically started in 2020 during COVID. So leading up to COVID, I had a friend who was a producer named Rebecca Woods, and she was trying to get me on sets for like 7 months.
Oh, wow.
Like 7 months, I was like in film school, and I was like the kid who was like, school's the most important thing, first off. So I'm not skipping school. I think my entire freshman year of college, I missed one class.
Damn.
I was like,
That's impressive.
it was my intro to piano class, and it was because I woke up one day with a cold, and I skipped that class, but went to all the rest of the classes.
Dude, you're a better student than I was. I'll tell you that.
Once I got started in industry, though, it plummets like hard. But no, for like 7 months, she was trying to get me on these sets and like saying she needs a PA. She would love to have me out there. And like for 7 months, I was like, I got school that day. I got class that day. I can't skip class. And she like I think in her head was like, why? Like, you don't need it. But I like didn't do it forever. And then it was like, not till like October of 2020, she was like, I have this thing. It's in Indianapolis. You'll be a PA for 3 days. Do you want to do it? And at that point, I was kind of like, obviously COVID's happened. The world shut down. School's not really school anymore.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll go do it.
Just ready to get out of the house.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so went to Indianapolis for like 4 days with like one cam op, steady cam op, one AC, one producer, one director, one gaffer.
Oh, wow.
Skeleton crew, and worked for like 2 or 3 days. I can't remember exactly. And we were doing so exciting. We were doing funeral home marketing.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys know this, but funeral home marketing is like where the money is.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much
Oh, yeah.
money. Funeral homes make a lot of money, and they want to spend it. And
I have a question about that.
yeah.
Was it
Dead
very
bodies everywhere.
No. Was it very serious, or was everyone kind of like cracking jokes, trying to keep like the mortality out of the?
So
I feel like morticians have a great sense of humor.
they have to. You
Yeah.
got to. But like this
a
one
dead
was like
sense
it
of
was half
humor.
and half. So like the first day was like a lot of like the people that owned the funeral home that we were shooting at, like just talking to the camera and like explaining who they are, the origins, what they want to do, the services they provide, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then the next day is when we did like scenarios, like we did like a funeral scene, and we had like 20 people from Indianapolis come sit down in nice attire and then like go
Fake
walk in front of
cry.
a coffin and stuff, and like that was weird. Especially with I've probably done like close to 8 to 10 shoots with that specific company.
Mm-hmm.
And they do range from super cool, funny, everyone's having a great time to like, I'm going to cry for the rest of the day.
Oh, gosh.
Dude, one of the worst days with that company was when we were doing like these 9 testimonials where people who had lost loved ones sat down in front of a camera looking straight into the camera for an hour telling their story. And then
Yeah, dude, that stuff's heavy because that's like what my dad and I do with all the military stuff of like,
Dude.
he was telling me a story. I wasn't on the shoot with him, but it was for Navy SEAL who got the Medal of Honor, and his mom, it was either his mom or his dad I think it was his mom, sat in the room for over 9 hours because she could not get through the interview. Wow. It was like, after hearing the story, and like, I can imagine being the cam op or whoever the person is filming and having to also sit there and like pay attention to the camera when you're hearing this heavy topic going on.
I can tell you because that was me. Because on that shoot, I was a second AC for it, and literally the director, we had like 2 crews going at the same time, and I was working with the director. And so literally the hardest testimony, like the most emotional one, the director looks at me and goes like, hey, I got to take care of something on this other shoot that I'm working on. So do you mind just manning the camera for a second? It was like locked off, everything. You just hit record. And like someone else was doing the interview. And so he leaves the room. I'm sitting behind the camera. Dude's looking at me. I'm looking into the monitor, make sure everything looks okay. And he's just telling the most heart-wrenching story about how he lost like 3 members of his family within 3 months.
Jeez.
All like, I don't want to give anyone else's details about their life or anything, but like, I was just like, I have not gone through anything like this. Yeah. And I was like, this is terrible. No, that was okay. Sorry, that was like a tangent on like random funeral home marketing, but like,
I didn't even know that was really like a.
Oh, dude, funeral markets are
the industry.
huge. Just think about how many funeral homes there are. Like, there's one literally in walking distance to us.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, so.
No, it's a never-ending business. It'll never go out of business.
It costs a lot of money to have a funeral too,
dude.
Especially in a church too.
If you go traditional with it.
Yeah,
dude. No, we were shooting all those videos on Reds. Like just like high top of the line cameras and like prime lenses and everything. And I'm just like,
wow.
God, some of the nice equipment I've gotten to play with was on funeral related videos.
Well, that was your studio.
That's all it is. That's all I've done. No, so I did that. That was like my first thing back in October 2020, and then just slowly after that was picking up PA gigs. Did music videos, short films, different random things around Nashville, and then almost about like a year and a month or a year and a couple days later, got my first AC gig for a short film, and did that, and never had AC before, and then was figuring out, like, obviously I've been watching ACs for a while and like kind of knew what the role was, but I never had to do it. And so then, shortly after that, like November 2021, started AC, and then literally around October or November again of 2022, started cam opping. Nice. So like I had like a weird like 1 year of PA, 1 year of AC, 1 year of cam op, and just kind of just like slowly got to move up quickly within a year, which was like super weird because like I know a lot of people that like I met people that have been PAing for 5 years and never got their break. Yeah, and I was like, okay, man, I'm gonna be doing this for a minute, and like I got to put in the groundwork, and then got that one AC gig, and I thought that was just gonna be like a one-time thing with these guys, and then they were like, oh, cool, you want to come back and do more, and I was like, sure, and then just started working with them, started going to my previous clients that I was working for. I was like, hey, I'm kind of doing AC stuff now. Do you guys want like a second? And then they were like, sure. And then started second ACing for a bunch of people.
So before we go down that path, can you kind of explain to the people listening or watching what exactly an AC is?
Yeah.
And like what like a second is, what a first is.
Yeah.
And kind of like describe the steps that you have to take. Because for me, like I started as a camera PA. If I want to, that's what I've been known, or that's what I knew, was that if you want to get into AC, you start as a camera PA. So can you just walk us through that?
Yeah, totally. So like AC is assistant camera. So basically the role of the AC is just like you, almost everything other than manning the camera, you're building it, you're maintaining it, you're troubleshooting it, you're fixing it, you're running Slate like you guys were doing at the start there. That's what an AC would do. You're placing markers, you're running cards, you're labeling. Some ACs have to dump all the cards in between takes or in between their breaks and stuff like that. So you're doing card and a lot of logging. But you're basically just kind of there to take all the weight off the camera operator or the DP, so that way they can focus on the, like, more creativity side. You're more of like the gear and like the mechanical side of the camera, and then the DP cam op gets to be more of like that creative side is how I kind of look at it. So start off just like second ACs primarily run Slate. They help with lens changes with the AC, and dump footage and run cards. And then first ACs get to pull focus, which is like the big cool thing you get to do. You get to stand out to the side with your little remote and be like, ooh, that's in focus, and like control that side of it.
But then you also could get yelled at by the DP for missing a focus.
Oh, easily, every time. Yeah.
That one quick second where it's not in focus and they're like, what the hell is wrong with the focus?
Well, it's like because you're all the way wide open and you're like on 1.8 aperture, and it's just like, So.
Have you worked with Matthew Bellamy?
All the time.
yet?
Love him. Great guy.
So I know we normally save the shout outs to the end of the episode, but since we're on the topic, I've never seen someone pull focus so good
Oh, yeah.
until I worked with him. Because my first ever camera PA was with Matthew.
Matthew's
on,
awesome.
He's awesome, dude. I don't know if he's listened to this, but I'm going to send it to you so you can listen to this.
I don't think I've worked with him before.
Matthew's a great guy. He's probably someone I've if I've ever been a second AC, it's probably because Matthew's the first. If I'm ever AC, it's because Matthew wasn't available. And I that's just my place, and I know it. If Matthew's not available, then they go to Paris, and if Paris isn't available, then it's me. And I know there's like at least 3 more guys between me and Paris too. And it just depends on who the company is.
But it also kind of describes how small the industry is.
Oh,
here.
Yeah.
And like how, and we've talked about it on episodes in the past where it's a very family friendly, or it's a very,
It's a nice community.
it's a close knit community.
Oh yeah, everyone's like super. Like we were kind of talking before we started filming earlier, just about like Nashville crews versus like LA crews, and just like, and I know you guys have talked about this on your podcast before, so I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything, but like Nashville is a really cool place to do this work because everyone's like wanting to work together and give each other opportunities because we're all trying to figure it out and grow.
Yeah.
And Nashville's so young in the grand scheme of things for film that like we're at like, although it's been going for a couple decades now in the grand scheme of it, it's like we're still at the ground floor of this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're still bottom tier technically. But
So it's cool to be a part of it and like know that people that are like leaps and bounds above me are like, hey, I'll help you. I'll throw you a bone and like help you out and like show you what I know and work with you and teach you a few things along the way. And it's like crazy because Matthew's literally our age, but he's been being a first and one of the best first ACs in the area for like going on like 2-3 years easily.
He has a project that him and I talked about when like I first met him, and I don't want to give too much information away because I don't know if it's like actually started yet. And I don't know if he's mentioned it to you, but it involves hunting. And it
I see
sounds...
that. He's always posting. If he's not posting a Snapchat story of him on a film set, he's in a tree hunting. Oh, you have to bring Matthew on and ask him if he's hunting or hunting.
Okay.
Hunting or
Oh,
hunting.
that's a good idea. I do want to try and... Matthew, we're getting you on this.
Dude, not
And
that
we're going to ask you about hunting and hunting.
not that any of the people you haven't had already are like not significant, important people in the area, but like, dude, he's up there.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. So...
I have a question. I'm going to kind of go back. So you, like you said, you have a very weird timeline of doing PA for a year, then ACing for a year, then cam opping for a year. What is... explain a little bit why that's weird, because like we said, like you have to put it in the hours, but there's also that time where you can catch a break and get to do something cool and exciting and then further your career in that. So like, how did that work out for you?
Insanely lucky. I think I don't feel as though I did anything any differently than most people that are coming into this that have a good work ethic. Obviously, like what people don't probably know is that like being a half decent personality on a set and having just a good work ethic will get you further in this career than knowing every single in and out of a red camera. Like I didn't even know what a red was until I started working in the industry. But I knew I went to school with people that had operated reds but weren't being able to pick up work like I was because they had a terrible personality.
Yeah.
So I think it was just the combine that of having like being someone enjoyable to be around on set, and having a drive to learn, and then just pure luck. Because again, I was lucky that producer was asking me for months on end for 7 to 8 months, like, hey, come PA, hey, come PA, hey, come PA. And I just kept saying no, because of this and that. And then finally like doing it and realizing that's what I need to do. And then I got lucky again that like through my school, that's how I got that first AC gig. So like there was a professor, his name's John Mofield. He's a cinematographer in the area. Excellent cinematographer. I guess that'll be my shout out, is John probably. And he was a professor at MTSU part-time, and basically the only reason he told me that the reason he offered me this AC position that his buddies were trying to do a short film on was because I was the one staying after class helping him pack up the gear and asking him questions independently and trying to like figure out more. And so I guess it was just like being that, like wanting to learn more. And then he pointed me in the direction of those guys that were wanting to do that short film, who both happened to work for a company called Cumberland Creative in the area. Yeah. And then that company was in a position where they needed more freelancers on their roster. And then for AC for the first time with them on a short film, and then they were like, "We want you to come back for more." And then I was like working with them within 2 weeks as an AC on actual like company projects.
That's cool.
And then through that same company, Cumberland Creative, I was able to then get my first paid cam op positions as well. And they were like putting in time and energy into me, helping me grow as a content creator and a freelancer and everything like that. So like, it was definitely just like, honestly, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but film school worked for me, which sucks to say because I don't think it does work. I'm not a big fan of it. I think if you're going to do film, skip the school, go straight into it.
Yeah, that we've had that discussion before of like, I went to film school, John didn't. John had the opportunity of working with his dad. You know, I got my internships.
I did have a film professor though tell me like, hey, it's not worth it. And I'm a film professor. Don't go. Yeah.
Dude, at MTSU, and I'll say this, like half of the film professors were telling their students almost in like the syllabus day, which is the first day of that class.
In silly week, yeah.
They're like, if you can get on an actual film set, no matter how large or how small it is, no matter what you're making, if you get on an actual paid set, skip class is what they were saying. They're like, go do that.
Yeah. I think it would be crazy if they didn't.
That's how I was. Every time I had to go, like when I started down here when I was still in school, and like I worked a Hot 20 shoot in the middle of April. That's like right before finals, as you know. And I just told my professor, I got a job out in Nashville. I need to be gone for a week. Is that cool if I skip class? And like, yeah, that's fine. Just make sure you do your work. Yeah. And I probably was a little late on my work because I was working odd hours. Yeah. And they were like, that's fine.
Was that the like 3 a.m. one for CMT Awards?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about changing topics a little bit. Speaking of CMT, that's how you and I met.
Yeah. CMT Artist of the Year.
Artist of the Year 2021.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It was. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah. Sorry. Because we worked awards 2021. That was when you were the overnight PA, right?
Oh, dude, I got opinions on that. I got things to say about that one.
Well, you guys, let's talk about Artist of the Year a little bit.
Well, Artist of the Year was my first CMT job. Was that the same for you? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know how I got that. I don't remember who got me connected to that.
Was it Jared, or was that the first time you met Jared?
That was the first time I met Jared too.
Okay.
And he was Matthew's roommate at the time.
I'm trying to think of who else.
I think it might have been Courtney.
Kayla? Or
was it not Courtney?
There's
what
Kayla
she look
Courtney.
Like?
Oh, she might be not the producer I'm thinking of.
Oh.
There's a producer I work with named Courtney Blonde who got me, I feel like, on it. I'm not sure though.
I wonder if this is Kayla.
If it is Kayla, I'm so sorry. We've not worked together since.
Her last name is Courtney.
Yeah, her last name.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, it could be her then. Hi. Sorry.
Hi.
we haven't worked together since like 2022 on some weird.
I need to solve this. Hold on.
We're gonna go to the call sheet right now.
Yeah, I think it was her. I think she's like got me on. I don't know what I would have done with her before then, but she's like the only person I remember knowing before that. But yeah, that's where John and I met, was on that. And I remember thinking like, yeah, we were both close to the same age, same interest, PAing, and then found out you were from Virginia Beach. And I was like, dude, my family vacationed there every year for like 12 years. Like I've been to Virginia Beach tons of times. We used to go to Sandbridge.
Was it that girl?
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
Hi, Kayla.
Sorry.
Wait, you went to his hometown for vacation?
All the time.
Get the Really?
Yeah, Sandbridge.
Damn,
That's
what a
about that.
small ass world.
Yeah, so like that happened in the climbing
Because
connection
I was
as well.
wearing the yellow climb hat.
Yeah.
That's how we started talking about it.
Wow.
But
Yeah, so met on that, and I remember
That's funny.
That was a fun time. I thought that was a good.
Yeah.
Like I remember thinking like I wasn't into live production work. That wasn't what I wanted to do in film. I wanted to work on like sets, making music videos or movies or things. And so I kind of did it just to try it out.
Yeah.
And I really did like the CMT Artist of the Year awards. That was a fun time.
it's also a good crew. Like
It
that
was a good
Yeah.
crew.
It was a fun squad of people to a degree. There's a couple people there that I was just like,
We don't need to name names.
No, I'm not. Because I respect everyone in the industry. I
Yeah.
think everyone's
Yeah.
got their own path they're going on. But at the time, it was just like I had not worked with some of those people before, and that kind of attitude towards
Yeah.
work, and was like, all right, this is definitely different.
Yeah,
But
it is
But
different.
it was still fun because we met, and then fast forward, was it that same year that we?
Yeah, that
Worked
same
awards.
year it was awards.
Was it?
Yeah, and that's the first time I met you.
Mhm.
And I just remember this tall guy just like, oh yeah, I'm the overnight PA. I was like,
I felt. Did I
Cool.
get you on that?
You got me on that.
Oh,
That
I'm sorry.
oh, I'm not mad at you for what was happening, but I was just like, man, I'm never doing this again. I was like, I'm never. If I ever see overnight PA, I'm not taking it. Because I was still doing PA stuff. I was like, I think that was around the time I was kind of doing some AC stuff and starting to get out of PA, and I think that might have been around the time I was like,
I'm done
done with
PAing.
PA.
Yeah.
it was just, man, I got opinions. It was just
Overnight
Overnight
sucks no matter
it's
what.
hard.
what sucks about it was that we were still in COVID times, basically.
So you had to wear
So
the
you're
mask.
masked up, and then I don't know if I ever told you like what I was doing. All I was doing the whole time for those 5 days in a row, overnighting. So I would show up on set around
It was
7.
like 7
Yeah,
p.m.
7 p.m.
-ish. Yeah.
I would show up. Everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
Me and like 8 other people are the only people checking in at this time, and then I would just sit behind the crafty station the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just people would literally like there'd be a whole tray or table of like snacks and candies, and people would just point at it. They're literally within inches of the
Yeah.
food, but they can't touch it.
Yeah.
I have to pick it up and hand it to them
With
because
their gloves. Did you
Yeah.
have gloves on?
no, that's
No.
that's the dumb part. I didn't have gloves on. They didn't make me wear gloves, and I was like just doing this. I did this for hours, and then I would have to like prep all of their dinners. So it's the overnight union
yeah.
workers.
Oh yeah.
And like they would, some random different business would be dropping off food at like 2 or
It was
3
usually
in the
pizza
morning.
or something.
No,
No, it wasn't.
it was pizza 1 or 2 nights, but then a couple other nights it was like full on meals and like
Oh wow.
like
'Cause I
chicken,
remember-
beef, and like
I
pork.
remember seeing them in the fridge, like all the leftovers
Yeah.
in the fridge out by the loading dock.
Oh,
And I would have to go get them from the person, bring them in, and then again, same thing. They point out what they want. I just go, and that's it.
Dude, I forgot about like that. Was such a crazy time.
Do you remember one of the crafty people got into a yelling match with one of the riggers because he started grabbing it, and she was like, "You can't grab it. I have to hand it to you." And they just got into a huge yelling match. And yeah, I
It
remember.
sounds familiar.
I remember that the whole like I have to give it to you.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
The most I got through the whole because I made it worth it. There was the guy that was like in charge of the union. I remember his name. He was an older gentleman who didn't do any of the rigging. He just kind of walked around, supervised. He would talk to me a bunch, and he was a cool dude. Then I finally realized, I need to bring my laptop and watch a movie or two.
Or
But
like 8.
yeah, the worst night of that was the night after the performance, after the award. So like I did like 5 or 4 days the week before with all the setup and stuff, and I was
Yeah.
like that, and then I didn't work for like 4 days, and then didn't work until literally the night after the awards, and where they're cleaning up. And the whole 5 nights before, I get there at 7 p.m. and then the union guy. I think I was like supposed to stay until like 6 a.m. or something, but the union guy at 4:15, that's when the union left. All those people left at 4:15. And so it was like, he was like, "You're supposed to stay here?" And I was like, "I guess." And he was like, "You just go." And so he let me leave every time.
Yeah.
So I left at like 4:15. And it was chill. I would drive home and it was fine. The last night I walk in, they had emailed me paperwork I needed to do. I did the paperwork, brought it in. And then I remember trying to hand it to the producer when she was leaving, or like I was at her desk, like she was still there, and like I was like, "Here's this paperwork." And she's like, "Oh, can you just give it to me in the morning?" And I was like, "Well, you're here now, and your office will be locked, so can I not just put it here?" And she was like, "No." So last night of the job, all the union people leave at 4:15 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. It was me and 3 security guards in all of Bridgestone for 3 hours. 3 hours of me just existing in Bridgestone. 3 hours of just me and these 3 security guards. I walked all over Bridgestone for those 3 hours. I've been in the locker room. I've been in the Lexus luxury lounge. I've been everywhere. At this point in time, I've never been to a Predators game. I've never been to a concert at Bridgestone, but I'm in the guts of Bridgestone.
Yeah.
I walked all through those tunnels where the semi-trucks pull in.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. Because I had 3 hours of nothing. There's no one to serve Crafty to. And then I remember at like 6:45, 7s when the people started rolling in, and the lady pulls in. I don't know what her name was. She shows up, and I try to give her my paperwork again, and she says, "Well, our morning PA is not here yet. Do you mind just waiting?" And I was kind of like, sure, because when you're PAing, you don't say no to things because you're trying to make it, and I don't want to piss people off. And then I end up staying there for another additional hour until around 8 a.m. because this morning PA person, whoever was supposed to relieve me, never showed up, or they were just running late. And I like finally, I look at the girl and I'm like, "Hey, I have another job that I was working at my university's outdoor program at the time, and like we had interviews at 10 a.m. that next morning." And I was one of the interview people. And I was like, I have to drive back to Murfreesboro and like do this other thing. Like I have to go. And she was like, "This is very unprofessional of you to leave before you're being released." And I'm like, I've been here for 4 hours more than I normally am, an additional hour because someone else didn't show up.
Yeah.
I think I'm fine. And
you did more than the Call of Duty.
Yeah. No. So I was like literally driving. I was speeding back to Murfreesboro because again the other I-24 I think it is like backed up like crazy. The other side's not, and I was just like raging on the way back. I was like,
you did touch up about outdoors. You're a big outdoorsy guy, right?
Big outdoorsy guy.
Yeah. So what do you do after like a 5-day shoot? You're inside, haven't seen the daylight. You literally get there at 6 a.m. You're out as soon as the moon's up. Like, what do you do to hit the reset button for yourself?
The reset button probably consists of if it's doing something outdoorsy, I'm probably going to be rock climbing. That's like John's other thing too.
You can't tell by the nice latitude.
Dude, I've done climbing docks too. Through school, I did 3 climbing docks. I was cleaning up my drive the other day, and I was like, did I do 3 different projects on climbing? I was like, geez, I had no interest.
I do have a project.
Yeah.
Side note that I want to pitch to you, and I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to cut it out.
Cool, noted.
Just
put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock climbing docks I filmed this one as my first solo project because I worked a lot with my dad, like you guys know. Still work with him now, and I think we've talked about it almost every episode. So, yeah,
they don't know it. They're gonna know it now.
If you didn't know, I work with my dad. But like all of his projects were all heavy military. I mean, the one that we're working on right now is about a murder in Virginia in the 1980s. So it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And the gym that I worked at for about 5 years, I like went to them and was like, "Hey, I really want to capture like the joy and the excitement that we all feel.
Yeah.
Like, can I do this as a project?" And like, I'm not asking for any money. I just wanted to do it myself. And then COVID happened, and like was able to film and finish it pretty much during COVID. But originally it was supposed to be like an hour-long project, but it only came out to be in like 25 minutes.
Yeah, situation.
But
yeah. And there's me that hasn't filmed the documentary, so just throwing that out there.
We need to get you on a climbing dock then.
Yeah. I haven't climbed. I've still yet to climb.
I know.
What?
I know.
That's crazy.
The only rock wall that I've climbed is like the ones in a rock wall gym.
Yeah.
That, like you're already harnessed. It's the same thing basically, but like.
But you've been to like a gym.
Yeah, but to work out in the gym area, not the actual rock climbing area.
Gotcha. Have you touched a hold?
Like the plastic ones.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was just like, man, you've never. Okay, I was like,
No,
well, John.
I took you to Climb East, and we worked out.
Yeah,
there,
that's
right?
what I mean.
Yeah.
I worked out in a climbing gym,
gym.
but not actually rock climbed. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I do the sports, and I'm not saying that rock climbing isn't a sport.
Whoa.
Hey, I'm not saying that rock climbing is not a sport. I'm just saying I do sports with
So this
with balls. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say that. I was trying to say like circular objects because I play with a puck sometimes. So
That's true. It's a
not
circular object.
it's sticking pucks, but you know, yeah. All right, let's get back to.
I like this.
God damn! I just find so many ways to embarrass myself on these podcasts.
If you're not having fun then.
Yeah. It's all for fun.
everyone's got to be embarrassed.
Yeah, but not John over here. John's too cool for that.
We're talking about rock climbing.
We were talking about rock climbing. I don't know where the hell we were going with it, but we were talking about rock climbing.
No, we were talking about just like the stuff that you kind of have to do to disconnect from the stress of
Yeah.
set. Because in the moment, I've discovered that like a lot of emotions can happen.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen with
100%.
people. It can happen with being mad at the job. It can happen through relationships with people, whatever is going on in the moment. But like once you get out of set, it's like, all right, it's in the past.
Mhm.
It's like you just wrote a paper back in senior year of high school that has nothing to do with what you're doing now,
Mhm.
and you just crumple up the paper and toss it behind you.
Yeah.
Like it's
I feel like any day, like any bad set day, like my worst set day is a better day than not working on a set. If
Oh,
you get
yeah.
what I'm
Facts.
saying. Like it's just like
100%.
I love it so much. It's so much fun to be creative and work with creative people that are driven and active in the community and like making something together. And I think what I always tell people why I love it so much and like being an AC is like it's my roles and my duties are the same. I do the same task. I show up to set, I build a camera, I hand it to the camera operator, I pull focus, I fix problems, I run cards. It's the same thing, but every time it's different because it's a different camera, different lenses, different DP, different location,
shoot.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part's always constantly changing, and that's what like pleases my brain is like I know what I'm doing, but it's different every time.
Do you think you could do a 9 to 5 where you have the same? No.
Not my only finished sentence. No, I did a micro version of a 9 to 5 in high school. I worked. I answered phones for a company called Perfect Serve. I worked there from 5 p.m. to like 10 p.m. on weeknights after school.
Damn.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was I was in a cubicle. It was like a room. Of course, I'm probably over exaggerating because I was like at 16 at the time. But like it felt like a million cubicles in the room.
Yeah.
And like what sucked was when you walked into this huge room, the first 2 rows of cubicles were decorated and they were nice and there was always people there because those were the full-time people. You walk past the other 9,000 rows of cubicles, they're barren. There's nothing in them. No seats, no computers, nothing. And then you get to the last 2 rows of cubicles, they're also barren, but they have computers, and that's where the part-timers work.
Oh, wow.
And you don't get a cubicle, you get a locker that has your headset in it, and you have to go find an open computer in these last 2 rows.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, I was answering phones, and then like I quit 2 weeks after working there. So I worked a total of 4 weeks. Got 2 weeks in, quit. The guy looks at me as I'm a 16-year-old and goes like, "Why?" And I was just like, "What do you mean why? This is terrible.
because I'm a 6-foot curly-haired man ready to run.
I need to be
out of
free.
here.
I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly."
Peacocks don't fly. If they get a running start, they can fly.
Get a slight trot.
Yeah.
So no, I couldn't do a 9 to 5. I knew that from 16. I was like, I can't do the traditional work,
Yep.
so I got to do something different.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just I don't know if I've said the story on here. Have I talked about the story of always wanting a job that doesn't allow me to have the time or know the time?
I don't think so, but I'm fighting off a sneeze right now.
I know you are.
It's bad right now, but yeah, I don't think you've told that story.
Bless you.
I really hope I don't sneeze because then like
Everyone's ears
everyone's gonna
be-
bleed after, and I think we might like cause an earthquake. So I'm gonna try my best not to
Dude, his
sneeze.
sneezes are. We've been here in the studio editing when we edited Controlling Chaos, the biking film,
Go check it out.
and I would be like hyper focused. Like,
He'll even have like no noise canceling headphones in too.
Well, no, like the first time it ever happened, I was playing it through the speakers, was hyper focused and everything, and all of a sudden it sounds like a train horn goes off behind me. It's just like
yeah. I do the same
by
thing.
sneezing like that.
I'm a loud sneezer too.
I swear to God, John jumped 2 feet in the air.
It scared
He
me.
went woo, and just.
I was like, what the?
And then of course I don't sneeze just once. It's usually a triple or a home run. Sometimes I'll get the 5 at bat.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's constant. Achoo, achoo, achoo.
Jesus.
Okay, we're good.
I'm like a one and done. It's
Oh,
a
lucky
big, it's
son
a
of a
big
bitch.
yell. It doesn't even sound like a sneeze. It's just like, and it's like that's literally it.
Do your stitches like fly out too?
They did. That's why I got rid of them.
I think it's funny because we've talked about the stitches a couple times. They don't know what,
They don't know what
No.
we're talking about.
And
they're not going to. We're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
You're just gonna
Just
Legally
think
can't.
about it.
yeah.
Just think about it.
Let your imagination run wild.
You should. I don't know. Do you guys interact with the audience like through comments and stuff?
When we have comments, yes.
When you have comments, how many teeth do you think I've lost? How many teeth were pulled?
Oh, that's a good question.
We'll do this as an Instagram.
So if someone can say how many teeth I got pulled that doesn't already know.
Yeah, I don't think I know.
Well, I can't say it. I'll tell you later.
Well, what we could do is you could say it and I'll just go beep over the answer.
Oh, true. Yeah. So
Hold on. Give us a chance.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you got
Hold on. How many teeth do we have?
32.
Do we have
32.
Is it 30? I thought
I'm
it was
pretty sure
28.
it's either 32 or 28.
I'm pretty sure it's 28. Trust me, I've been counting teeth a lot recently. I'm pretty sure it's 28.
All right.
My guess is 8 teeth.
8 teeth.
No, I changed that 6. I changed it 6 teeth. Say 6.5.
I'm gonna say 11.
Damn.
He's got like a little bit more half of his mouth left.
All right, this is where you start bleeping the whole thing.
You know, it'd be hilarious if over that snippet we do like the elevator music, and then we have a video of you being like, "Hey guys, if you haven't seen Backyard City, check it out."
I was trying to talk with my hands as much as I could, so that way it's like, what is he saying?
Are you trying to just impersonate me? Was that what you're saying?
if you're talking with them.
Yeah, I'm Italian. I always talk with my hands.
I'm Irish.
Oh, God, here we go.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm half Irish, so it's okay. So, I wanted to talk about a little bit of you went to film school, and did you have any professors that were like, this is how it's done, and the experience that they had was from decades ago,
Yeah.
and they haven't touched the camera, they haven't worked in production over 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And what was your experience on that, like going from a college setting to into the real world and talking about that?
I think basically that is just like if you haven't worked on an actual set, you don't know what to expect. So you go to film school and they're telling you this is what happens, this is how it works, these are the code names for things, blah, blah, blah. This is how you set this up. And you're like, okay, cool, that's what you do. Then you go to an actual set of modern times and it's nothing like that. Not saying that they're wrong. I don't think any of them were wrong. I think they were completely right for when they were working on film sets. But it's just not what happens now. There were not so many. There was a handful of professors that I had to deal with that were like that, where like I knew what they were telling me in the moment wasn't true, but some of them had a little bit of an ego about them, and so you couldn't tell them that they're wrong because what do you know? You're just a student. I had one professor who he literally didn't want to make documentary filmmakers. He wanted to make more his name documentary filmmakers, how he does it and how he went about it. And like we would film our things, bring it back, and he basically said, this is not how I would do it. I do it like this.
Yeah.
And then would dock us points if we didn't change the things that he would have done. He took one of my documentaries that I did, completely switched the purpose of it. It was a climbing doc, ironically enough, where like the whole point of it was about the subject of climbing. It wasn't about the specific person. I had my roommate who was a climber kind of be like this narrator and this voice to like explain like why climbing is important to him and to the community. and we did like a rough edit and sent it in, and he goes, make it about him. And I was like, well, that'd be cool and all, but like the point of this video is about the sport. And he was like, he's more interesting than the sport. And I was like, I'm not disagreeing, but it's like the point of it right now is not to be about him. And the other problem mostly was because I shot him in black and white, and all the B-roll was in color. Because again, he's not important. No offense. You're important to me, Wesley. But he wasn't the subject.
Yeah.
And so then it's like became this really weird thing where like he's all in black and white, the B-roll's in color, and then I had to put all of Wesley's B-roll in black and white because then it wouldn't make sense, and then just like it was weird. I just didn't like how he was like strong holding the class.
Yeah, no, I had an experience as well of a professor that it's sort of the same thing where it was his way or the highway basically, and there was no real interpretation for creativity. Is that the right saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to roll with it.
Yeah.
And so like we had to do a sports documentary, not a sports documentary, but like a sports piece, like a quick 2-minute thing about any kind of sport that was going on in IC. And I did the rugby team during alumni weekend, and I had a bunch of buddies on the rugby team, so I was able to interview them and get some good interviews, and I knew the coach as well. And he just tore it up of like, what do you, like, this isn't at all what I was trying to get you to do. And then I was like, I read over his sheet. It was like, film about a sport and get a piece and find a story with it. And I was like, I found the story of alumni weekend. We're playing our biggest rival. I have alumni and also current students talking about how important this is. And it's a club sport too. It's not even a varsity sport, and how dedicated, you know, there was a kid from Florida. His family came up for the game. Yeah. And like Florida to upstate New York, it was 14 hours or whatever if they drove, and, you know, a 6-hour flight, 5-hour flight. So like it definitely meant something to the team, and there was a story behind it. He was like, this is not at all what I told you to do. I was like, so what do you want me to do? What story should I look for? He's like, well, what kind of what was the actual piece about? Like, what, you know, focus on the game itself. And I was like, the game is great, but it's about how this great game blossomed into this great community behind it. Yeah. That's the story. It's the game's there, and then there's a B side as well. And, you know, I probably got a C or something on it, and I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was always frustrating in school, and like it's funny, it's frustrating as a student when you watch movies that come out today, like major motion pictures and things like that, where these directors that are highly skilled and highly renowned and everything do something that's against the rules of filmmaking. Oh yeah. And when they do it, everyone's like, oh my God, that was so genius. Like, why didn't I think of that? Like, of course they did that. They're geniuses breaking the rules. And then as a film student, you see this, you see how well this was received and how like everyone's like, this is really cool. You're like, cool, I'm going to do something like that in my little student film. And then you throw it in there, and then you're docked points for doing it because you had like this weird shutter effect that they didn't agree with because they were like, that's not what you do.
Or
and
you do, like, or like you said, do black and white.
Do black and white or anything. And it's just like, it sucks that you're like, as a student, you're in this weird position where like a lot of times you're not allowed to break the rules yet, but like what's being praised in the culture is breaking the rules. Yeah. And it's just like, well, when do I get to do that? And
once you graduate.
And then you're allowed to break the rules.
Well, I have a question because, and I know I've mentioned this, I don't know who I was talking to about this or which episode it was, but I kind of learned a lot of what I know, of course, through my dad, but I had to learn that stuff on my own. Like when it comes to setting up cameras and setting up interviews and stuff, I had to learn it all myself. And for me, my film school was YouTube. Yeah. Did you ever go down the YouTube film school path at all?
If there was any, most of my YouTube film school stuff was related to editing. Okay. Yeah. If there was anything editing related that I just did not understand, I was watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, that was the same thing for me.
I was lucky enough to get a lot of really nice people in Nashville to like show me how to properly set up a tripod and how to set the camera up properly and get those kinds of like hands-on things on sets really well trained, which is awesome. But yeah, definitely YouTube school for editing is like, I was using it all the time. That's cool. I was doing things on my projects in film school like editing wise, that like they weren't teaching in class because they weren't knowing how to do it. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I would find different things that I wanted to put in it and figure it out.
I have one quick question before we do the shout out, or before we talk about BCS. Did you ever have a professor tell you something that motivated you a little bit harder, or like put a little bit more fuel into the fire, sort of thing? Could be good or bad. Like, did you have any of that?
I don't know if there's like a specific moment. There was two different professors that impacted me very much while going to school for different reasons. One was more on a verbal motivational sense, and one was on like a physical, like getting me gigs, and like we went to Brazil together and like very much hands-on involved. So like working with that one professor, his name is Paul Chilson, working with him to like go to Brazil and work on films with him in like indigenous groups, that was awesome. And like him to bring me back onto these things, and like him and I continuing to work on these projects even after coming back from Brazil, and including my involvement, made me feel like important that this person who's got accolades and is known in his community, and like he's like entrusting me to like help him with something. And I was making note of that. I was like, his actions of involving me was making me feel like I'm not just some kid sitting in class. He's like, I'm a little bit more than that, which made me feel powerful, I guess, or empowered to do it. And then another professor who like, his name is Rick Henson. He was the most motivating verbally that I ever had as a professor, of just like talking me up to other students at times in other programs, and like making me feel as though I did stand in a different category than most students. And like part of me is like, I'm not looking for that recognition or that gloatingness of it, but like you put in a lot of work and you do a lot of things, you ask a lot of questions, you obviously are trying your best to kind of stand out, and then like getting those few moments of like being stood out for a second makes you go like, okay, cool, they see it. So there's moments like that where I was like, cool, I'm doing it right, that like what I'm doing stands out a little bit from just a normal film student.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Nice. John, do you have any? No?
No. I never really was around the film school crowd.
Even in high school, you didn't have like a...
Like, do you mean in a way of saying it, the professor teacher was saying it in a way that made me want to do it more?
Like was a mentor to you, or said something that was like, this rubbed me the wrong way, so I'm going to prove you wrong, sort of thing?
I didn't have any. It was more, there was students that were like, oh, you're doing the film thing, like, just didn't really believe it. Now I'm like talking to them and they're back home still doing God knows what, like where they're like, wait, you actually moved to Nashville and like you're doing this full time? I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, I said I was going to do it, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm not gonna half-ass it. Trying to think if I had any teachers. I know I had Mr. Zanetti, who was the yearbook teacher. He was the teacher that I would like. He was the AP history teacher in high school for 11th grade. And he knew that I wasn't going to college. Like, I knew at that point that I wasn't going. And he was the guy where I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm not taking the AP history exam. Can I work on yearbook if, like, you're doing a practice test or something? Yeah. So there would be days where he would teach or have lessons on days where it was specifically for, like, the AP test. And he'd be like, John, here's what I need you to do. I'm going to give you an A for the day as long as you can knock out these pages for yearbook or whatever it was. Or like, he would give me some quizzes of, like, I want you to learn everything you can about the 1DX Mark II. Yeah. And write a thesis on it or something.
That's a cool teacher.
And he was awesome.
That's a dope really teacher. Because, like, that's a huge thing that people don't think about. I think it's becoming more relevant as we all get older and our generation, grows up. But it's like, school is not meant for everyone. Oh, yeah. And, like, the people that can recognize that and, like, help support you in a way that is, like, beneficial to your career long term and what you wanted to do is awesome. That, for me, is proving that, like, that teacher is much better than every teacher at that school. Because they're like, recognizing that, like, not going to college, doesn't care about college. What does he care about? Cameras? Throw it at him. Yeah. Yeah, he's investing in your interest, which is cool. Yeah.
Which I really appreciated that. And there was also another one, Randolph Rivers. He was the Photoshop.
What a great name.
he did a lot of stuff, but he did the Photoshop class, and I already knew all of Photoshop because at that point I had been taking photos for like 5 years, so I knew like
You
how
had
to
a
use.
Photoshop class in high school? Dang, that's cool.
It was like the basic.
We had an AV class at my high school, which was cool. We had AV 1, 2, and 3, which like grew as you grew and stuff like that. And we had like a school show that I was on, and that was super fun.
My high school has that now.
Yeah,
I'm part of the part of the classes where they're like, oh, of course they get that as soon as I
After you
leave.
That was me with MTSU. They got a Komodo Red the year I graduated. I graduated in August 2022. That fall semester, they got
one.
They got one.
Of course.
I was,
Of course.
I would have used that thing up.
Well, let's get some Reds for BCS.
Did you guys hear about Red being bought out by Nikon?
Nikon. Oh my gosh, the memes that came from that.
Golden.
Yeah.
So funny. My favorite was the one with Arthur's hand.
Just the clinching.
Yeah, just him clinching when they're like, when Red users have to be.
Nikon users.
Yeah, now they're Nikon users or whatever.
Dude, so many people on sets at that time where if they were working on Reds, they just like wrote on like a piece of tape like Nikon and would just stick it on Red. And I was like, that's brilliant.
That is a good move though for
Oh
Nikon.
yeah.
Oh,
great
yeah.
move.
They're gonna stay for a minute.
Oh yeah. Jinx.
That was kind of trippy.
You guys are sinking.
Can you tell that we've spent almost every waking hour together, like working and then also
living.
staying into yeah.
I mean, we also do live together.
Yeah.
That's
Roommates.
we were both
Co-hosts.
there already there. You kind of were 5 seconds behind, but it's okay. You're on a 5-second tape
I always
delay.
am.
Yeah. Do we want to talk BCS?
Do you
a little
want
bit?
to pause for a second?
Oh.
We're good.
Will that one go for longer?
Yeah.
That one.
Cool.
Yeah, that goes for 30.
Yeah.
And we don't have to talk much about it. 'Cause
No.
I know the episode prior to this, we really shouted it out.
Yeah. It's kind of like beating a dead horse. But we kind of want to more get your perspective on it as working as a cam op on it, So what how does that feel for you?
Have I cam opped all the episodes so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Gypsy
Gypsy outfit and now Thomas.
and now Thomas.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so it's been fun. I thought, honestly, the first time I actually got to operate a gimbal was on your guys' one with the Gypsies.
That's sick.
Yeah, so like you guys want to do the gimbal? I was like, oh sure.
Was that your gimbal or was it Josh's?
It was Josh's.
That's the first time the big man became short. He's like,
oh my god, I hope I do this right. No, but that was like super fun to get that opportunity for the first time to actually film something like that wasn't like a personal thing of like goofing
Wasn't a
around.
funeral home.
Exactly. Where I was operating a gimbal of some sort. So I was like, I hope I do this well. So that was super cool. And yeah, just being like, I think seeing it's, I talk about how the production quality from the first episode, to the second one just shot through the roof. It's just amazing how much you guys changed the stuff. You're like, this was good. This was awesome.
Yeah.
How do we make it better? And you did that within one episode. And so like the first episode, you guys didn't even have a stage. You had like the white cloth behind.
Yeah.
But now you got a whole stage. You got props. You have the signs back.
Yeah.
Josh and then what was the other
Skinner.
Brian Skinner. Yeah. And then bringing him in with the steady cam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys got like, it's cool to have like all like 3 different shoot styles. You have like we had the track, we had the steady, and then I was on handheld. So it's cool that you got like different options and feels for those sessions and stuff. And I think what you guys are doing is pretty cool. And like, it's cool to have like, I'm a big fan of basically our era of film and artists because we're the 20 somethings that don't have all the money. We don't have all the resources, but we all need work. And then the artists need content.
Yeah.
And so it's a great partnership that we have with musicians in this area and especially in Music City. It's awesome. So like it's such a great thing for them to get like one, they get camera practice because they need practice. All of them do. They can sing really great, but are they good at talking in front of the camera?
Yeah.
Probably not. So this is a great time for them to like practice those skills, hone in those things. You guys get to work on, your production quality and growing your company and growing your product. It's just like, I just look at all the positives of it. And that's why I like not trying to like say anything negative real quick about like I so far haven't been getting paid, but like don't care about getting paid because I'm hoping to like this all pays off in the end for you guys and this thing can grow even past my involvement of being a cam op on it because I think it's just super cool.
Well, and that's like we kind of talked about this before we started filming when it comes to the actual like episodes. And my dream for like Easygoing moving forward is to where like we'll have a hired editor on crew, like on staff, and like kind of how like Evolve has their guys that they are on staff with, where I want to get like our crew
to be the A team, and like to be that, you know, like we got a shoot day this day, let's do a prep day, and then let's bang it out, and it's like everyone on call and everyone's there. You know, obviously we want everyone to have, you know, do whatever's best for their careers and everything, but we want the team that we have to stay the team that we have, because the camaraderie is so good. You know, the fact that we were just cracking jokes the entire time.
On the second take when we all had the headsets.
Dude,
when we were all just like,
we loosened up, and
that was so much. That was hilarious. I'm glad we weren't recording audio.
Our audio into the headsets.
We would get a little backlash there.
But no, it's cool seeing like I would love to like in like 10 years see that like Easygoing Studios is like this huge thing, and there's like, you know,
appreciate that.
10 or 15 full-time staff members with specific roles, producers, editors, cam ops, all that fun stuff. And like it'd be cool to be like, yeah, I remember I was at the ground level of that. And like whether or not I'm involved or not involved, I'm like, that's just something cool to see. And like, again, I'm constantly offering free video for upcoming artists because it's beneficial to them and it's beneficial to me to get more practice, and also I just get more content to post on my page,
of course,
and exposure as well. So like I think what you guys are doing with it is awesome, and the fact that you're doing Easygoing, you're doing Backyard City Sessions, you're doing the podcast, you guys are putting in the groundwork for stuff, and it's awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up. Let's do our shout out of the week or the show.
Mr.
Bryce, who's your shout out?
Other than Matthew, like we gave him out earlier, I'm going to give it to John Mofield. John was, again, he was a professor at MTSU. That's how I got introduced to him, but he was a cinematographer in the area. He takes amazing photography too. He worked on this huge long photography project, driving his bike from Nashville all the way down to the bottom of South America, and took some amazing photos.
You can check it out on this Instagram.
No, it's sick.
I'll put it down because I don't know if I've actually worked with him, but I do follow him on Instagram, and I remember seeing
he's insane, and he's just like, he's so nice and he's so helpful, and he I think he was the first person to let me like hold a red and like take it apart and build it. So I got to build my first red on MTSU's campus, which was cool before they even got a red. So he's just been a really helpful guy and like super supportive, and like got me my first AC gig, which has led me to where I'm at now. So it's like I owe it to him. So yeah,
that's
John.
Awesome. Well, do we have one?
Do we have a shout out?
I know we definitely have. There's so many people in our phones.
You know what? I'm gonna shout out a buddy that I just worked with, Mr. Carson Condor.
Hey,
Carson. We worked on a gig this past week, and it was so great seeing him. And he's just a bundle of joy and so much fun, and he's a great pal. He's starting to get into the sound department. So he's starting out there. So if you need a sound guy that is looking for some experience, call up Carson. So that's my shout out.
Dope.
Mine is going to be Michael Bagford.
Michael, yes.
I really hope I said your last name correctly.
Baghdaddy.
Because I went to see Sierra Farrell at the Ryman with my girlfriend this past week on Wednesday. And I love her like that. Sierra is so good. I don't know if you're into that kind of. I found her through Michael, and Michael does a lot of PA work with CMT. That's where I got to know him. That's where we got to know him. He was on Artist of the Year with us. I don't know if you remember.
2021?
Yeah.
Was he the key PA?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No. No. I don't know who the key PA. I don't remember the key PA, but it was definitely not Michael.
Oh, okay.
Was he? He was a PA with us?
He was a PA. But Michael was the one who introduced me to Sierra when we were driving to Austin together. So
nice.
That's my shout out.
I don't remember you, but you sound dope as hell.
Well, that's it from us. I'm Dylan Ross.
John McTavish.
I'm Bryce Tuggle.
And thank you guys very much for enjoying us or spending the time with us and hope you enjoyed. Please click the like and subscribe button. I can't speak at all right now.
Do you want to do another take of that?
Let's slate in. Come on.
Let's slate in.
All right, let's actually start. Come on.
But thank you guys very much. Again, we appreciate y'all. Hopefully, we'll check y'all out. So y'all check.
Oh man!
Y'all will check us out next week on another episode of Let's Slate In.
Do I need to drive home?
What?
I don't
episode
know
is this?
what is going on, dude. I had a 4 a.m. call 2 nights ago. Yesterday, I don't even remember. So like everything is just messed up. Everything is messed up right now. It's not good. It's not good.
All right, well, that's a wrap.
That's it. Thank you all.
Bicycle.
Man, that was a fumble.
Well, up until that.